everybody, welcome. Let's sit back and chat. I cannot do much more than that anyway. I'm now at my wit's end. It has now been more than a month where the three of us had been playing tag with being sick. The moment the one is back up, the other one is down. Now it's my turn again, and I've had enough now. So today you will likely hear it in my voice, and it will likely take me a while to edit out all this sneezing and coughing. Well, whatever. Our kitchen looks like a pharmacy. Medicine, both prescribed and natural remedies, vitamins, fruit, vegetables, fruit juices, tea, rubs, sniffs, you name it. If only something would help. I've now spent more on remedies than on my monthly groceries. Anyway, folk, let's talk about the royals and the clowns in Montecito. Now look, if you had made videos for almost 7-8 years on the royals, then you will notice some patterns. And I'm not talking about the royals or Harry and Meghan. No. I'm talking about the public. The staff in and around Buckingham Palace, for instance, and the elite and the buddies of the royals in general. One thing I noticed, never ask something outright, because then you scare people off. No, say something controversial, which you know will upset or make people really emotional or angry, and then you don't need to battle and beg for information. No, siree. Then information comes to you. People have always wanted to show that they know more or know better and want to be the heroes, saving their idols. In, say, 7 years, I had people contacting me who had been so mad at me and who would say things like, "No, you are wrong. My father worked for or worked at that, let's say Buckingham Palace, or my uncle was a protection officer and he said this is what really happened." I even had a dad threatening to disown his daughter if she would tell me something specific, something about Harry. I tell you, the drama behind the scenes is sometimes as interesting or as annoying as the Harry and Meghan saga itself. But I bear with it all because that is often how I get information. People get angry and then they do not think straight. And there are other patterns too. Talk about Charles and people unsubscribe. Always the more or less same number of people, strangely enough, say about 65 to 100 people. 2 weeks later they are back just to redo it again. Go look if you can. My number of subscribers have stayed more or less the same for nearly 2 years. Now I'm asking you, is this normal? No, it is not. But I have a very good idea as to what is going on. I actually emailed YouTube, and I'm about 70% in the know as to what is causing this. And yes, there is some manual manipulation, let's say, going on. But I'm not responding for now, and for a very good reason. But you will find out soon enough, just not straight away. Anyway, it is because of one of these patterns that I received some information. Now please, I cannot guarantee that the information is correct because I have not spoken to or dealt with this one person before, but somehow I almost feel or believe that it is, and I'll tell you why in the video still. But first, let me get into the story. After my video discussing Meghan's twerking and stroking her kitty cat and wrapping her buttocks in towels or whatever, I had a message from someone who told me that video was filmed 2 to 3 weeks ago, not in June 2021. and from the description of the man who filmed it, it sounded a lot like old Marcus Anderson. She said a man shorter than Harry with greyish hair, and he obviously knows them well, accompanied them. Maybe it's a bodyguard, but would they trust an employee to keep such an explosive secret? I don't think so. Now, could all of this be true? Could the whole scam be as a result of what we had been saying about the children lately? Are we getting close? You know, there's something else I have not spoken about much. You think Lily is the only one whose birth was not registered close to home? No. In one of my old videos, I actually looked into the same thing, but about Archie. So Archie's birth wasn't registered, according to what we saw, at the office closest to the Portland hospital, nor was the birth registered at the office closest to Frogmore Cottage. Now, why not? Well, you see, I don't know, but I have a theory. When there is an adoption pending, there will be an initial birth certificate, either only with a surrogate's name on it, or with the surrogate and biological father's name on it. And only after the adoption paperwork had been finalized will they issue a new birth certificate in the actual couple's names. So I think to hide the original proof of life or the original birth certificate, a false or fake birth certificate or proof of life was issued until the final one could be produced. So to make it difficult for people like us to find the original, and knowing that we will start looking where we would expect to find it, they made sure that we would not find it where it is expected to be found. You know, something like that. Anyway, a while ago in one of my videos, I said that I feel as if Meghan is challenging the king, almost daring him to do something. Remember that? Well, today someone else said the exact same thing to me. She said she detects a shift in the dynamic around Meghan and Harry and around the royal family. Meghan Markle is becoming more and more desperate. And as she is becoming more desperate, she is becoming more unhinged and taking bigger risks. On the other side of the ocean, the media is being briefed by Buckingham Palace Media Liaison Office on a daily basis in an effort to move the narrative away from the negative and more towards the positive. How strong and hard-working the king is while suffering from cancer, how wonderful he is, how kind and caring, blah, blah, blah. While quietly, in the background, William is doing everything in his power to prepare for his own reign and moving further and further and further away from his father's reign. Do you still think it is coincidence? That William is no longer using Palace and the same lawyers as his father? Well, not quite, my friends. Let's say there was conflict of interest. But I'm leaving it at that. Okay, I do not have the breath, the oxygen in my lungs to go into all of that. Anyway, we have Meghan Markle becoming desperate and unhinged. Charles, knowing his reign has been tarnished, and not only by Meghan and Harry. We have Camilla stirring behind the scenes as always. We have William, who hardly agrees with anything his father had done previously. Catherine, who agreed to serve her patronages and the monarchy, but who made it very clear on her comeback that until her husband becomes king or her children are off to college, her priority will be her children. And then we have Harry. People who do not, and I have to make this very clear because they were honest about it, people who do not have a friendship with Harry, or who sees him on a daily basis, or who worked with him long term, or anything like that, they have no such liaison with him. But they've met him on the occasion, or they said hello to him a few times, and so on. Well, they are telling me that they are indeed noticing the difference in him. Now, my dears, that is very normal. You know, people who see someone on a daily basis, they do not really notice changes because it happens gradually and they just go along with it. But if someone doesn't see someone else for a period of time, say a month, 3 months, whatever, they do immediately notice the difference. Now, there were a few people like that, and one in particular, who said that Harry looks defeated as he spends more and more time in New York. He also looks more and more sad, defeated, and lackluster when he is in Montecito and or anywhere near Meghan and her shit. Someone else says the only time he gets a glint in his eye when near Meghan is when she supports him in his hatred for and his evil plans against the monarchy, his father and his brother. Like this bloke said, it almost appears as if Harry gets off on collaborating with Meghan to bring down the monarchy, more so than he would react to her occasional love bombing. Anyway, guys, this particular video I prepared on Saturday, June the 7th, but my voice keeps giving out. I started sneezing and coughing halfway through, so I'll post this and then let's call it the rest of the video a bit later. Okay, guys, please take good care of yourselves. Love ya. Bye.